Alright, so division of polynomials. So let's talk about division. Now, I'm going to start off by looking at something that's not a polynomial, just to sort of get this idea of how we're going to get our numbers back up, okay? Or how we're going to produce the results of our numbers. Now, this works for polynomials and it works for regular bigger numbers as well. So we'll start off by looking at the number. Nice, easy number. We're going to say, here we go with 30 divided by 7, okay? So 30 divided by 7. We can rewrite this as, or how many times does 7 go into 30? So 7, 14, 21, 28. So it goes in, let me think. So what we're going to do is we're going to write the divisor first. So the integer which we're dividing. So it's going to be 7 lots of, and the amount of times that it goes into the number. So how many integers go into this, okay? And so in this case, it is 4. Okay, so 7 plus 4. And we know when we do division that typically with one that's not a whole number is we're going to get a remainder. And what we do is we typically add that on the end. So in this case, it's at the 2. So because this is 7 times 4, which is 28, and then plus the 2, which makes 30, okay? So when we have our I can't even speak. When we have our division, we can rewrite it as a multiplication and a sum, okay? And we've been doing this for ages and ages and ages. Now, the other type of thing I want to redirect us before we start looking at polynomials is the way that we actually divide really big numbers. So let's say we have 13 and we want to divide it into 1,428, okay? So you might remember doing one of these back into primary school, okay? I know that's certainly where I learnt to do long division like this. So this question is 1428 divided by 13, okay? And, we write it in this division format. Okay, and what we would say to ourselves is, okay, how many times does 13 go into 1? Well, it doesn't, okay? How many times does it go into 14? Well, 13 goes into 14 one time, okay? And there would be 1 left over, so we're going to put the 1 there. Then we say, how many times does 13 go into 12, okay, because that's a 10 that we're carrying across. The remainder of the 14 is 1, or a 10, is 1, so it brings it across, and it becomes a 10 when it moves across the columns. So we'd say, okay, how many times is in 12? 13's in 12, well, that's 0, so we're going to write a 0, and then we're going to say to ourselves, okay, well, how many times does 13 go into 128? And it goes in, a number of times that I'm not going to work out the top of my head right now. Better. So 13, 26, 39, 52, 65. Is that 65? Is that right? That can't be right. Anyway, 78, 91, 104, and 117. So it's going to be 9 times, and then we have our remainder, and we write it remainder, and then how many are left over. So in this case, it's going to be 8 plus 3, so that's 11, so it'd be remainder 11 over 13. And just to make sure I've actually done that right, 1428 divided by 13. It's going to be really embarrassing if I've got this one wrong. We hit shift and this one, well, not that. Whoop. I'm going to hit shift and this one, and it's 109 and 11 over 13. So yeah, we can rewrite it this, and this just becomes, so we can rewrite 1428 as 109 times 13 plus, and our remainder is 11, okay? Because that's how much is left over to get this number back out. So this is the whole idea. Whenever we're going to answer a polynomial division question, this is what we're going to do. Now, to actually find or actually do a division of polynomials, there's a bit of an algorithm that we're going to use, okay? And essentially, I could talk through what it is, but I think it's just easier if we jump straight into an example on how to do it. So here we've got divide 2x to the power of 4 minus 3x cubed plus 4x squared minus 8 by x minus 2 and an x squared minus 2. Okay, so we're going to start with part A. Okay, And the way we're going to do this is we're going to set it up like it was one of the really big ones that we did. So we're going to write 2x to the power of 4 minus 3x cubed plus 4x squared. We're going to leave a gap for the power of 1 because as you see up here, there's a jump between the power of 2 and the constant term. So we're going to leave a gap. Okay, so we don't actually have to put a line there, but we're just going to leave that gap, and then we're going to add the minus 8 on the end. Okay, like this. Now, how we actually do the polynomial division is we start off by dividing the, and I'm going to do a highlighter, I'm going to divide this constant term out the front into the first term here, okay? So by doing this, we're going to get 2x to the power of 4 divided by x, which is 2x cubed, just like that, okay? Our next step is to then multiply this number up the top here by the 2 here. So we're going to say to ourselves, okay, well that's 2x to the power of 4, okay, which is 2x cubed times x. And then we're going to do minus 2 times 2x cubed, which is minus 4x cubed, okay? And I'm going to draw my line across that. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to subtract the first line up here with the second, okay? So 2x to the power of 4 minus 2x to the power of 4, well, that's just equal to 0, okay? And we've got minus 3x cubed minus 4x cubed, so it's going to become plus x cubed, okay? And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to bring these values down to our new line. So plus 4x squared, and then leave the gap, and then the minus 8, okay? And that's going to be the new value that we are going to, and we don't need that 0 there, we don't need that plus either. This is going to be the new polynomial that we're going to divide through. Okay, so we're going to do the exact same steps again, except this time with the different part. So we're going to start off by dividing this term here with the x up here. Okay, and so we're going to get x cubed divided by x, which is x squared. So the x squared goes up here. Then we're going to go through and multiply the x squared with the terms that we've just, with the 2 terms in the divisor. So it's going to be x squared times x, which is x cubed, okay? And x squared times negative 2, which is minus 2x squared, like that, okay? Now that we've done that, what we're going to do is I'm going to write my line underneath it again, and I'm going to subtract both of the equations from each other, just like I did before. So x cubed minus x cubed is equal to 0. 4x squared minus 2x, which is plus 6x squared. And then minus 8, take away nothing, is just, can we stop doing that, please? Minus 8. Okay, so that's, and then we get this new polynomial like this. And we're going to repeat the steps again, and we're just going to continue doing this indefinitely. So again, I don't need that 0 or plus because we don't need it to start. So we're going to go 6x divided by x. Okay, well 6x divided by x is equal to 6x. Sorry, 6x squared divided by x is equal to 6x. And why is this being really painful tonight? 6x just like that. Now we're going to go through and we're going to multiply these values here by these ones across here. So 6x multiplied by x is equal to, oh, for God's sakes. 6x divided by x squared is equal to 6x squared. Okay, 6x times negative 2 is negative 12x. So I'm going to write that there. So negative 12x. Okay, so just to remind you guys, that's this times that and then times that to get those values. Okay, I'm just going to remove those. Okay, so 6x multiplied by the 2 terms, and then that's going to give us the 6x squared minus the 12x. So as I said, that's why we've left this column down the center here, because we do actually end up with an x term by doing this division. Okay, and so we're going to continue. We're then going to subtract the 2 again, just like we did before. So we're going to go 6x squared minus 6x squared, which is equal to 0. So again, I don't have to put anything there. And now this time we do have a sneaky 0 sitting in here. Okay. So 0 minus 12x, or minus 12x is just 12x. And then the minus 8, take away 0 again, because there's nothing there, leaves us with that. Okay? And the last step is to do the, well, not the last step, sorry. The next step is to then do this once more. So we're going to go 12x divided by x. So that's this term here divided by this term here. And that's going to leave us with plus 12. Okay? So then I'm going to multiply that 12 I just put up there by the two terms in the dividend, or in that little, the x minus 2. So I'm going to do 12 times x, which is 12x, and we're going to do 12 times negative 2, which is negative 24. Okay? And now we're going to subtract these two again. So 12x minus 8 minus 12x minus 24. Well, that one's going to cancel with that one. Minus 8 minus 24 is just equal to positive 16. And now because this one can't actually go into the x at the front here, okay, we are done. So our answer to, and let me just make sure I get this right, 2x to the power of 4, let me just grab it up on here actually, 2x to the power of 4 minus 3x cubed plus 4x squared minus 8 divided by, and make sure these are in brackets too because we're dividing it all, x minus 2 is equal to, and now we're going to write our term up here. Okay, so remember we said on the other page that when we do a division, we'd write our answer and then our remainder. So our answer is 2x cubed plus x squared plus 6x plus 12. Okay, and then plus the remainder. So the remainder in this case is to write it as, so what our remainder was, so in this case it was 16, over the thing that we're dividing it by, so x minus 2, okay? So that's the answer to that. Alternatively, we could write our answer in factored form, and what that means is that we're just going to write it by the way that I showed you guys before, by doing the multiplication in a plus. So it's going to be, or alternatively, it's going to be x minus 2, lots of 2x cubed plus x squared plus 6x plus 12 plus the 16 on the end, okay? So that's the other way that we can write this one. So both of these answers are correct. If you're just asked to divide it, you can leave your answer like this or like this. If you're asked for it in factored form, that's this one down here. So factored form. Okay, so that's that one down there. Alright, so we're going to be repeating this whole process again for the x squared minus 2, just to make sure you guys get your head around it. But basically, this is the way that we're going to be doing it. Okay, so I'm just going to write from down here. So this is part B. Okay, and part B says we're going to divide 2x to the power of 4 minus 3x cubed. Oh, for God's sakes. 3x cubed plus 4x squared minus 8 divided by x squared minus 2. So a little bit different this time. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're actually going to write it in this form, okay, in this long division form, and I'm going to put in my 2x to the power of 4 minus 3x cubed plus 4x squared. I'm going to leave my gap for my x term, my x column, just like I did before, and then we can add the minus 8 on the end, I think is what I was meant to say. Sorry, I just got distracted for a second. Okay, so let's do the division. 2x to the power of 4 divided by x squared. Okay, so that is this one divided by this one. Okay, first divided by a second. So by doing that, we're going to get 2x to the power of 2. Okay, now we're going to do 2x to the power of 2 times x squared, which is 2x to the power of 4, like we should have, because when we take it away, we want it to disappear. And now for this one, we're going to do 2x squared times negative 2. So it's again this one here. I'm going to multiply it by this one. 2x squared minus 2. And we're going to write it in the correct column, because if we multiply that, we get minus 4x squared. And we're actually going to put it right here in the x squared column, okay? Now the reason we're doing that is because when we subtract these two, so when I do my big subtraction, I want to I want everything that doesn't have anything underneath it to fall straight through. So 2x to the power of 4 minus 2x to the power of 4 is equal to 0. Minus 3x cubed minus, well, remember there's nothing down here, so it's just going to come straight down. Plus 4x minus 4x squared. 4x squared minus 4x squared, so it's positive 8x squared. Okay, there's still nothing in this next column, so we're going to leave that blank. And we're going to put the minus 8 there on the end because there's nothing underneath it. Okay. Next step, we're going to divide our first value here. So the 0 is going to disappear because we don't need it anymore. Now we're going to divide our minus 3x cubed by our x squared. So that is, we're going to divide this one here by this one up here. So we're going to get minus 3x. Okay, so minus 3x cubed divided by x squared is minus 3x. Now, once we've done that, what we're going to do is we're going to multiply minus 3x by x squared and by minus 2. So minus 3x times x squared is minus 3x squared. Okay, and then we're going to do minus 3x times minus 2, which is equal to positive 6x. And don't forget to make sure that you put it in the 6x, put it in the single x column, like that. Okay. Put my minus here. Sorry, I didn't change colors for that one, but that's okay. We can keep going. Now we're going to subtract them. So minus 3x cubed minus 3x cubed, not squared, is equal to, you guessed it, it's equal to 0. So the 0 is going to go there. 8x squared minus nothing is just 8x squared. So remember, if we got nothing, we don't actually need to write that one down. The plus 6x, okay, now with the plus 6x, sorry, it's not going to be plus 6x because remember it's 0 up here, so 0 minus 6x is equal to negative 6x. And then the minus 8 falls down like that. Okay, and that's that bit done. Now we do our next bit, so same thing again, we're going to divide 8x squared by the leading term of the divisor. So 8x squared divided by x squared, well that's just equal to 8. So that 8 is going to go there. Now we're going to multiply that 8 that we just put up the top by the x squared and the minus 2. So 8 times x squared is equal to 8x squared. 8 times negative 2 is equal to negative 16, so the negative 16 is going to go there. Okay. Now we're going to subtract the 2 again like we did before. 8x squared minus 8x squared is equal to 0, so I can leave that blank. Minus 6x minus nothing is still equal to minus 6x. And minus 8 minus 16 is equal to positive 8. So just like that, we're going to leave that one there. All right, now we're going to look at the next one, which is minus 6x divided by x squared. Well, that's going to leave us with something that is not a polynomial. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave it there. And that means that this here is the remainder, okay? So up here, this is our answer, okay? This is our dividend, this is our remainder. So what we can do now is we can write, therefore, the answer, the solution, the answer to 2x to the power of 4 minus 3x cubed plus 4x squared minus 8 divided by x squared minus 2, and that's equal to, so it's going to be our answer, 2x squared minus 3x plus 8, okay, plus, and now our remainder. So our remainder is minus 6x plus 8 over x squared minus 2. So just like before, where it was like 11 over 13, it's going to be our remainder over the divisor. Okay, or our alternative, our factored form is equal to, and remember it's going to be x squared minus 2, lots of 2x squared minus 3x plus 8 plus, oh, in this case, it's going to be minus 6x plus 8, okay? And that's the fully factored form. So dividing polynomials is really, really, really useful for whenever we need to factorize something that is really, really disgusting. I'm talking about your things that aren't quadratics. So you guys know how to factorize quadratics. You know how to do pretty much everything with quadratics. So you know you're factorizing by your monics and your non-monics and you're completing the square and that sort of stuff. And you know how to do like simple cubics as well by taking an x term out. But this is for stuff that's really, really tricky, okay? This is the algorithm that you need to apply. It's the exact same each time, okay? The way that I've done it is the exact way that you're going to do it. Now, it's really hard for me to show exactly what I'm talking about, but I tried to make it as simple as possible by using different parts to just, you know, like with different highlighters and stuff. So with that being said, that's the end of the division of polynomials, which is our 10C. What we're going to be doing next is we're actually going to be looking at one of the ideas that evolves from the idea of division of polynomials, and that is we're going to be looking at the remainder and factor theorem, okay? So with that being said, that's the end of this one, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.